So today I'm going to be walking you through how to do your own oil change on your BMW. Specifically, this is a 2010 BMW X5 and it's the 4.8i, so it's the V8. And I know the 6-cylinder is probably a little easier to do an oil change on, but in any case, the oil change at the dealer for this particular vehicle will most likely run you between $150 to $200 plus. I'm just assuming, because just the oil in the filter itself was about $90 for me to buy it myself. Plus they have to make a they obviously have to make some kind of money, so they're going to upcharge you on that. So this is the vehicle. I'm just going to kind of show you what I have here, and the V8 calls for, I believe it was 8.4 quarts. So this is a 5-quart jug, and when I was looking at the individual quarts, they're about $10 to $11 each. So it kind of just made a little bit more sense for me to buy 2 5 quarts, and if anything I have some extra, because pretty much every vehicle either burns or leaks a little bit of oil, or I can use it in a different vehicle. A lot of people use the MAN oil filter cartridge. It's MANN, but this is what they offered at my local auto parts store, STP, but it's good for 10,000 miles, which these BMWs, they call for an oil change at 9,000 miles. And here you have some oil seals and your crush washer for your oil drain plug. All right, I'm gonna get this vehicle up on these lifts here, and then we'll get started. Okay, so first things first, we got it up on the little tire stands here. Pop the hood. Under here there's a latch just like any other car, and we see this big monster. So right here we're gonna just crack open the dipstick here, because we want to create like a vacuum, so when I loosen up the oil drain plug, there's vacuum and all the oil is going to leak out. Otherwise it'll just leak out really slow and all the oil won't come out. So now we got that done, I'm going to go underneath the car and see what we got. Alright, so we're under the car here, and you can see that there's the oil filter cartridge, and then there's your oil drain plug. And I just cracked it loose. I believe it's an 8mm hex. So now I have my oil drain pan here. I had 2, but apparently one of them went missing, of course, like everything I own. So I have that extra bucket there just in case, because I have a feeling this is going to make a mess because there's over 8 quarts in here. So I'm going to drain this. Oh, this is going to be a mess. So I'm going to just flip this phone around and see if I can get a view of this. All right. Try not to make too much of a mess. And there she goes. She's coming down. Oh boy. It's a lot of oil. Sorry, I'm doing this all on my phone. That is a lot of oil. But this is your drain plug here. It's not really that long, but I'm going to replace this crush washer here. I'll get to that at the end. But it looks like my drain pan's going to hold it off. So once I get to the oil, I'm going to drain this before I get to the oil filter cartridge, because that more oil is going to come out of there. I don't want to make too much of a mess. So hang on, I'll be right back. Okay, so we got the drain plug. I did replace the crush washer. I found a little odd that the new replacement, you probably can't see it on the camera, but it's actually thicker than this one. I don't think it's going to make a huge difference, but that's what the kit, the oil filter came with. So this thing is trickling down. I mean, you'll sit here and wait forever if you really want to wait for that thing to be completely empty. It never will truly be. It'll always be pouring oil out. So I'm just going to clean the surface area up just a little bit and start threading this in. And it's probably good that crush wash is a little bit thicker, because I had a hard time kind of finding this drain bolt here, because it looked like it was old, like it's never been removed up through here. Like you couldn't even really tell that it was a drain bolt. You couldn't see the crush washer or anything. So at least now you can see the crush washer. You always know when there's a copper crush washer, that's a drain bolt for something. So I'm going to tighten this up. I don't know what the torque spec is. I'm just going to do it tight and then give it 1 or 2 ugga chuggas, and I'll move on to the oil cartridge filter. All right, so I need to take a quick time out here and just explain something. I made a little gaffe while filming this video. So in the next scene, you're going to see me unloosening the oil filter cartridge housing, and oil is going to be bleeding all the way down my hand. Now, as that was happening, I was thinking, man, this is a silly design. If this oil was really hot, it could burn me. But I didn't even realize that right at the bottom where you stick the socket on, there is a little drain. I think it's a 2 or 3 millimeter hex. There's a little drain plug, and you would unloosen that first, drain the oil out. And initially when I seen it, I thought it was holding some kind of hardware on the other side in the oil filter cartridge housing, because when I was looking at this is the old oil filter, but when I was looking at the new one, I seen that this clipped into something. So in my mind, I was thinking that was holding some kind of hardware on the other side of the housing that this clipped into. It didn't even dawn on me that that was a drain plug. But after I changed the O-ring on the housing, the large O-ring, I seen that there was a small O-ring, and I didn't really know what this went to. And then after all is said and done, it dawned on me that that was actually a drain to drain the oil out of the housing so you didn't make a mess. And yeah, that's what it's for. So just to make perfectly clear, when you get your oil filter cartridge from wherever you get it from, you're gonna have a little package. It's gonna have a crush washer. It's going to have, for that, and that's for the main oil drain. You're gonna have a large O-ring or oil seal, and that's for the cartridge housing. And you're going to have a small oil seal, and that's going to be for the drain plug for the cartridge housing. Okay, so now that the oil is drained, I drained my pan so it's fresh, because I know oil is going to splash out here and make a mess. Got my new crush washer, and the drain plug is tight. This is a 24 millimeter, and I'm going to put it over here and then I'll loosen it. I did crack it already, so it's not, this is only supposed to be spec'd at 10 newton meters, which really isn't that tight. So I'm going to loosen this, and I'm sorry, I'm doing everything with one hand here. So we're getting her loose. I'm going to take her off by hand. Oh, it's going to make a mess. Let's see. There she goes. There she goes. In case you're wondering, yeah, that oil's hot. I'm trying not to make a huge mess. Wow, that's weird. So the the oil filter cartridge is actually stuck up in there. It's supposed to be. They obviously didn't. They're supposed to be. Oh, maybe it's supposed to click into here, but maybe this year is a little different than a 2009. I can see the tabs in there. They didn't push the oil filter in and click it into this cover, or it just got stuck there. So yeah, but there it is. So we'll pull this out and take a look at it. All right, so we got the oil filter cap off. We're taking a look at the oil filter here, and there's not much to it. Just want to make sure that the new one is relative to the one that came out, which it is. And we're supposed to have a rubber seal or gasket on here, and this is where a pick comes in handy, which I have here, and you'll just slide the pick in there, pull that seal out, and you'll see that there's a groove. You'll see that there's a groove in here. You're not going to put it all the way down flush against this rim. There's a pretty wide groove. It's pretty self-explanatory, and you know, probably not the best thing to do, but just going to take some of the residual oil and just lube this up a little bit. I know people will probably bitch and moan, all the Karens out there, like it's going to blow the motor up if I do that. But I am going to wipe this down with a decent rag because it's all oily, and I will wipe out the inside as well, because you don't really want, you want to get as much as that old crud out. It is pretty clean in here, I will say. There's nothing I should be concerned or worried about in here. So you have your, again, you have your new filter, and basically you're going to take this side with the tabs, and you're supposed to push it in there. It only goes one way, and it clicks in, and you know, you have this like felt seal right here, so it clicks in. That's how you know it's in. And then we're just going to go back underneath the car, and we're going to screw this back in, and it's supposed to torque at the 10 newton-meters, but I'm going to do hand tight and then give it 1 or 2 ugga chuggas, because yeah, we don't need torque specs here. All right, so we're back underneath the car here, and we're gonna slide this cartridge back on, hand tight, and it says for the big black cap it's 25 newton meters. This little, you know, hex screw is 10 newton meters. So I'm just gonna hand tighten that, get my socket on here. I don't need this bucket no more. Tighten this on, and I like to keep my hand right over the head of this sock ratchet, because it gives you a better feel. You're not over tightening. So I'm gonna give it one or two ugga chuggas at the end, and there we go. We're done with it. Let's get up to the top of the vehicle. Down here you got your oil fill, and it's a square, and it says BMW recommended castor oil, and it doesn't say, but it does take a 5W30. So it's pretty tight in that area. So I have like this funnel that tapers down, because you can see the cam chain right inside of there. So this kind of sneaks in between, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my time and fill this, because it's so tapered and narrow, and this is going to take a lot of oil, so it's going to take me some time. I'm not going to record all that, it's kind of silly. But one thing I will say, per the parts store, it did say that this vehicle takes 8.4 quarts of. Okay, so now the oil change is done, and there's two ways to check your oil. You have the dipstick out there, which you could check, or you could check it in here on the dashboard. And again, this is a 2010 X5 4.8i, and basically, you know, you go on YouTube and you see a lot of people messing around over here. I mean, that's like a different model. Everything changes with these cars. So on this particular model, you're going to be using this middle knob here and looking at your little command screen. So basically what you're doing, this is the main menu, and you're going to turn the knob and scroll down to vehicle info. And vehicle status, and then you're going to see all these menus. You got tire pressure, reset TPM, and then you got your engine oil level. You have service required, and you can go into all that and check in it. It kind of keeps track of your data. So basically, okay, I'm right here at engine oil. I press this center button, and it already shows that it's at max because I was already checking it before, but it'll let you know, like when before I added, it told me it was at minimum, but it does take a few minutes to register where the oil level is at, because this motor is not like a normal motor. I believe it's kind of like Audi, where they don't have like an oil pan per se. It's just like it's a circulating system. So the motor needs to be running to check the oil on this. So that's it. I mean, hopefully this video has helped somebody. If you want to save a couple bucks, I mean, probably way more than a couple bucks, you go to the dealer, and they're going to charge you an arm and a leg to do an oil change. But hopefully this has helped you, and I'll see you in the next video.